of course, is the topic, the relations between the U.S. and Iran. Let's welcome Siamak Adibi.
Thank you. Thank you for your lovely comments, and very encouraging that I'm still liked on this island after all these years of troubling. But I think I have serious issues tonight to discuss with you, so I may not be smiling. Forgive me, because I think it's a very serious issue that I want to discuss. Because as American, we have come to a great moment in our history. For the first time, we have succeeded in unifying major power in common cause, and namely stop proliferation of nuclear bomb in Middle East. This is a really, in my opinion, a great achievement. And to show you what it is, why it's such a great achievement, I will discuss largely tonight the genesis of the animosity between America and Iran, which caused the fear of nuclear proliferation. Can you all hear my voice? No. Oh, I better have the microphone then. I thought I could. I'll wait. No, well, that's fine. Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Just leave it there. And
I just talk to it, okay?
Now talk to the people, but
Oh.
bear with me for a second.
It's, yes, I think I sound.
Better?
Yes, I think. Anyhow, I wish I could talk about, I will not go discuss all the aspects of my book. I will concentrate on the topic of the animosity and resolution. Anyhow, I was, as you all know, I was born in Iran, and since I was born in Iran, many friends always cornered me and asked me, what do you think the basis for animosity, ill feeling between the two countries? And I didn't have a short answer to satisfy them. So this prompted me to get serious and write a book that I can, anytime somebody asks me, say, please read my book, I answer it. And leave me alone, because I cannot explain in a few minutes. And I had no idea. I just started writing this book about 2-3 years ago without knowing that I'm going to coincide with our government signing an agreement as my book was coming out of publication. Well, everyone said, aren't you lucky that you coordinated so well with the federal government, your publication, and their time of their coming out with agreement. But I think that's all I have in common with the federal government at this time. But, but in my book, I given my reason that I have given my life story was I felt I am well known in Chappaquiddick, but not well known other places except in the medical circle, and those medical circles don't even read much. They are like politics. So I felt that I need to introduce myself to public, who I am and why I have the right to make an issue, discussion of this crisis. So, but before going to the subjects of crisis, I need to say a few words about Iran. Very few, when I came to this country, when I was a young boy, came to this country, many people had not ever heard of Iran. It was so unknown to people that I had to constantly defend that I'm not an Arab, I'm not an Iraqi, because they thought Iran and Iraq was the same. So luckily, there are more people now aware of about that. There is a difference between Iran and Iraq. Anyhow, the few things about Iran. First, Iran was not called Iran until about half a century ago, for thousands of years, was called Persia. And Persia was the first major empire in the world. And it is not known to many that thousands of years ago, we were the biggest. We had half of the world in our Persian Empire. And all my ancestors, they were sub-king. In Persian, it's called satrapy. So they were given right to rule various parts of the empire because it was so big, no one king can deal with it. So he had appointed various sub-kings in various areas to look after the people and the needs. And and that's where I come from this large ancestors of Persian, and I'm Persian. So anyhow, now I come to the real subject that I want to concentrate, the question of crisis between America and Iran and how it began. America and Iran were great friends, real great friends. When I was growing up, we all loved America. And as you know, I ended up coming here because of everybody liked America. It was a very warm relation. And all broke down in around 1953. And the reason for that was Iranians elected the most lovable, the mostly respected, the mostly honest prime minister they have ever had in thousands of years. His name was Dr. Mossadegh. And this Mossadegh had two aims when he came to power, two aims. One, to revive democracy. We had democracy in 1906, the first nation to have democracy, but we lost it after that to the various terrible kings who didn't like democracy. It was a nuisance to them, so they bombed the parliaments to close it down. And that happened. So Mossadegh revived that. That was the first thing he did, and it was very easy for him. Then the second objective was to eliminate poverty in Iranian poor people, because there were a lot of poverty in Iran. And his solution was to nationalize the Iran oil and use the income from that to help the country. It sounds simple, but the British until then, they had complete monopoly of this oil. And when the Churchill heard this news, he was furious. He said, how could they do that? Our biggest gift from the God, the oil supply. And he began to think of attacking Iran and preparing to attack Iran to retake the oil wells. But Harry S. Truman said, no, boy, you cannot do that. I want to let the countries have their freedom and to be able to make democracy and economic improvement. So he was shut down. But Churchill was a colonial beast. He was very smart, and he decided to wait until new administration came in 1953, the Eisenhower era. And Eisenhower's Secretary of State was John Foster Dulles. He was an anti-communist fanatic, just absolute fanatic. And Churchill found a way to get to Iran. He fabricated a lie by calling Mossadegh a pro-communist, despite the fact that everyone knew that he had no desire for communism. But Foster Dulles believed him and pressured Eisenhower to give him permission to send the CIA to destroy the government of Mossadegh and bring down democracy. And this was done secretly, because I even didn't know that until 10, 15 years ago. It was kept secret. And I thought that Mossadegh was removed from power because he was not popular or something. But not only they removed him out of power, they put the Shah of Iran, my old friend, in charge of a government with total power. They want him to become a military strongman, because at that time America liked military strongmen around the world to keep the communism under control. And so they give him best ammunition, armament, and the promise of a nuclear bomb to be the strong man in the Middle East, watch over all those other countries. And with the support of America, for 25 years, he ruled this way. It was a mass revolution, a bloody revolution, a real bloodshed against him. And he was forced to to give up the throne, the Peacock Throne, that's the title of my book, and to go to exile. And the Peacock Throne was left forever. So he left the country without really any good supervision, although he asked people to look after Iran. But there was a man in exile, a religious extremist by name of Khomeini, who immediately returned to Iran and took over the power of ruling Iran. And he was not kidding about democracy or anything. He wanted to rule as a religious extremist and be religious theocracy and follow the Islamic rules, and he really made the life miserable. And he destroyed a lot of people who were connected to Shah or they were trained in America. He was after ethnic cleaning, want to have pure, hardcore Muslim in his country. And the nation suffered. So this man who is so holding up the title of power suddenly hears that the Shah of Iran, Jimmy Carter, has invited him to come to America for treatment of some illness. He got scared. He thought that, America was up again, sending the CIA and bringing him back and destroying him as the ruler of Iran. But that his fear led to encouraging his partners, his people, the followers, they just went then to the attack embassy, American embassy takeover, and the hostage as a source of trying to say, if you come, we have your hostages, and so on. So this was the time that we all in America became very upset about the hostages and tried to do whatever we can to get even with them. We sent a helicopter, unfortunately collapsed, and out came Jimmy Carter's end of the politics. And then America encouraged Saddam Hussein to take revenge, encouraged him to go attack Iran, and use his weapon of mass destruction. And over 500,000 Iranians died in that 8 years war, and nothing was gained. The Muslim ruler did not lose power and did not lose any land, but there was a lot of loss of human in that, and he eventually was a draw, no winner after 8 years. So this went on, and still people, with all these things that are happening, they still missed America. And about 15 years ago, luckily, there was an election of a president, an Islamic president, who turned out to be a very moderate and very kind and want to have peace and bring the two together. So he declared publicly that I am in for a friendly, civilized dialogue with America. He just on his own, without clearing this with this absolute ruler Islam grew on his own. And he sent his army to Afghanistan to help our army fight the Taliban secretly. He wanted to do everything he can to please America. And guess what America did to him? A man by the name of George W. Bush goes before the Congress and calls him the axis of evil. And what happens to them? This man becomes discredited by all the extremists in Iran. They say, we told you don't fool around with America. They're not going to be nice to us. And he was totally put aside and shut down forever. So this went on until a rumor began to circulate in Iran, largely encouraged by Israel, that Iran is producing nuclear bomb. And that prompted a lot of anxiety without any evidence. No one had ever shown that there is actually a nuclear bomb there. I do not know whether they had nuclear bomb, but it was strongly suspected that they have a nuclear bomb or about to make one. So they brought that severe sanction, very severe sanction that went on to really push the country to poverty and hardship. Anyhow, this was going on until people began to think about this. 60% of the Iranians are under age of 30. They were never part of the initial CIA problem. They don't know that CIA came and killed their favorite prime minister. They want to have relation with America. So they put pressure on the new president, Rouhani, we got to do something. When he got elected president, the people went berserk. All night they were in the streets celebrating that they have got a moderate, a peace lover, we're going to have our life back. Those guys want their life back. They want to be able, like in the past, listen to American music, the stupid jazz and dance and go all that sort of things that we all like, and they are crazy sort of thing. They want to have life. They want to have economic interaction, be able to come to America, education. American come to them. So they put pressure. And Mr. Rouhani agreed. And for past 3 years, there had been intense discussion between John Kerry and the Prime Minister of Iran. They have had fight. They have had terrible fights about what the agreement should be. Many times it was about to be break, and somebody saved it. And finally, they came to agreement that they have made agreement that is worthwhile. I understand that the Iranian, for some very unusual reason, agreed to 80% of demands of America in this agreement. And then agreement was liked by all the members of all the partners. All our partners were very happy with the agreement. Our scientists who were on that committee were very happy with our agreement. And yesterday, as I'm not sure you read New York Times, 29 nuclear scientists have written a letter to Obama, and 7 of them of Nobel Prize winner of that quality, and say we like the agreement. And amazing that despite all that, there is an opposition and growing seriously, calling everything in the book with the IPAC and the rest to destroy this, and I do not know the outcome. But I think that fair to say, my opinion, it would be a great loss. We will be a lonely power because France, these great partners are already in Tehran. They are already negotiating business. They are not waiting for Netanyahu agrees to the agreement. They are down there already. And President of France has already invited President of Iran go there. So there will be a surprise if we reject and they agree. And what's going to happen, we're going to become a major power with lonely, nobody to talk to. And I'm not sure that would be good for our health, for economy, for anything. Anyhow, there's much more to say about what the opposition doing, but I don't want to, because my book doesn't have it. When I wrote that book, there was no opposition yet. I mean, this was before. So all this has happened since last June, all these attacks and so on. But I can share my opinion with you by saying I think it would be a great loss. I think that the Iranians do not have a nuclear bomb. I don't think they probably had the intention of nuclear bomb. They were going to have nuclear energy. But again, I'm not sure. Hopefully that the United Nations is going to investigate whether Iran has ever had a nuclear bomb or had purpose of a nuclear bomb. Well, they said that we will know in 6 months whether they ever had something like that going on. But at the moment, there is no evidence, and I believe them, whatever they say, that they were really not interested in nuclear bomb. They wanted nuclear energy, whatever for. But I know the majority of Iranian will be great, have friendship with America, will be great for both countries. Because they are the biggest country in the Middle East. They have the biggest army, the biggest economy. And I know if the sanctions remove and they are happy in the relationship, they're going to come down from this position of theocracy, probably move to democracy. My guess is if they become happy, it's very hard for the Ayatollah keep insisting theocracy if their country become prosperous. And so they want to have democracy to be able to interact with the world. So I don't know how long that's going to take, but I think that is my guess that it will take a few years. So this is in summary that I wanting to discuss with you, but I know you have a lot of questions and time short. I will pause here and you can ask me any question that I have not covered in this lecture. Thank you for listening.